Hello, my name is Bree, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to find the derivative of a function using the definition. So here we have a problem. We're going to be finding the derivative of the function of x minus 3x squared plus 5, and we have to use the definition, so we can't use the power rule. And here's a very important formula that you have to know. That's what we're going to be using for the basis of this problem. So f prime of x is equal to the limit of h approaching 0, and then you get the function of x plus h minus the function of x all over h. So we're going to plug in this function now. So I'm going to get f prime of x is equal to limit of h approaching 0. And then for f of x plus h, what you do here is it's a composition function. So you're going to be able to put the x plus h in for every place you see x in this function. So x plus h minus 3x plus h squared plus 5. And then we're going to subtract f of x, which is just that itself. So minus x minus 3x squared plus 5. Okay. And the entire thing's going to be over h. And then here's the first thing we're going to want to rationalize. It's going to be the x plus h squared. So you can use Pascal's triangle for this, but I'm going to write it out just so everyone understands what we're doing. So here what you're doing is x plus h times x plus h. This is not just okay to be x squared plus h squared. So in this circumstance, we're going to do FOIL. So we get x squared plus hx plus hx plus h squared. Makes sense. And then, so we're going to plug that in and we're going to rationalize the rest of the way. So we get f prime of x equals limit of h approaching 0. And then here you're going to have x plus h. And then we're going to have minus 3, and we're going to plug this in here. So we get x squared plus 2hx plus h squared. Plus 5 minus, and we can distribute this minus actually. We're going to have to do that. So we're going to get minus x plus 3x squared minus 5. And the whole thing is still over h. So I hope this makes sense. Next thing we're going to do here is multiply this minus 3 to every term in here. And so f prime of x is equal to limit of h approaching 0. X plus h minus 3x squared minus 6hx minus 3h squared plus 5 minus x plus 3x squared minus 5 all over h. So now that we've broken this function all the way down, the next thing is going to be canceling things out and figuring out what we don't need in this function. Okay? So what we're going to look at here, I notice that we have a minus 3x x squared here, and we have a plus 3x squared here. We're going to be able to cross that out. Keep in mind that's still a minus. I just kind of drew over it, but we're going to cross both of those out because that's 0. And then what else can we see? We have a plus 5 and a minus 5. Don't need that. And the same thing here. X minus x. Get rid of that as well. Don't need any of that. So then we're going to rewrite the function with what we've got left. F prime of x equal to limit of h approaching 0. H minus 6hx minus 3h squared all over h. Now what you should notice here is that there's an h in every single term, including the denominator. That's all we have. So I'm going to just bring over a chair so I can write closer to the bottom of the board here. But here we're going to f prime of x is equal to limit of h going to 0, and then we're going to factor out this h. So factor out the h, you're going to have 1 minus 6x minus 3h all over h. So in this case now, since we're multiplying, we're going to be able to cancel out the h's. So we can cancel this. And then here, we're going to be left with f prime of x is equal to the limit of h approaching 0 of 1 minus 6x minus 3h. So the problem here, why we had to do all of this, was that h going to 0 the entire time the denominator was 0, which would have made the function not work. But now the denominator is not 0, so we're actually going to be able to plug this in. And this is quite simple in this case because we've only got this one h left. So f prime of x is equal to, I'm going to apply the limit. So now this is going to be equal to 0. So 1 minus 6x minus 3 times 0, which I hope we can all agree is 0. So we are just left with 1 minus 6x, and that's your solution here. And what you can do, despite not being able to use the power rule on this, if you do know the power rule, you can use that to double check your work here, which is really important. So if you come up here and look at this, you can see that x, if you apply the power rule, would be 1. And then this term here, 3x squared, if you apply the power rule, would turn out to be 6x, and you're still subtracting there, and then this would turn out to be 0. So if you did apply the power rule, you would get the same thing, which is a great way to double check your work on a problem like this if you're not allowed to use the power rule, and that's how you do this problem.